The Radio Forest Podcast.
Hi, this is Brianna Mahon with Monster Jam.
Brianna, what's happening? The driver of Scooby-Doo. You're in Idaho this weekend. Welcome.
Thank you.
You are known as the Princess of Carnage. Where did that come from?
Back in my second year of competing, Medusa, the Queen of Carnage, dubbed me the Princess of Carnage because of my driving style when I filled in for her driving her truck at the Monster Jam World Finals.
What was some of the first women in this sport? Because it's really taken over. I mean, there are quite a few women now with Monster Jam. So you talk about these early influences. Who was the first woman? You're like, oh, wow, I could be involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, there was so many when I came in that were, people to look up to. I mean, we had Becky McDonough and El Toro Loco, who worked her way through the ranks from crew chief to driver. Medusa had been around competing, Candace Jolly. So it's been awesome to not only come into the sport and drive alongside them, learn from them, but then, kind of be their successors once they have retired as well.
How does it feel now to be one of the women that are influencing these young girls that come up to you?
Oh, it's been such an honor. I have always held myself to this high standard of being this positive, modest role model for these girls of all ages. And it's great seeing them come to the events. And they came because their brothers wanted to come. They had no idea women drove. And then to sit there and watch us. And then now that is their life aspiration, is to come and, be a female driver as well. I love it.
Do you think there was fewer women in motocross when you started racing that, or Monster Jam?
No, definitely motocross. We had our fair share of women for sure, but coming into Monster Jam, there wasn't a whole lot, and there really still isn't to this day compared to the amount of male drivers in the sport, but I'm super thankful to be, one of the few. Did
you get any flack in motocross for being a woman in a pretty much a male-dominated sport at first, or no?
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, that was not a motorsport where the boys wanted us, and so it was a battle my entire career of fighting to be there, fighting to be recognized. And, when I became better than a lot of the boys, then became a little more aggressive in the sense of, aggressive racing against each other. So moving into Monster Jam, where we are competitors on the track, but we're a family off the track. The men are so supportive. Everyone is there cheering each other on, celebrating with each other, and teaching each other along the way.
And you're the 2024 fan favorite. Tell me about getting that award. Did you know it was coming? Do you just go to these awards events and you're just kind of hanging around, so it's a surprise? How does that happen?
Yeah, no, it was a complete surprise. Some of the other categories we get nominated for, and we don't always know that we're nominated until we're sitting right there and kind of learning alongside everyone watching. And to find out just on the spur of the moment that I was the fan favorite is such an honor. I mean, I was completely just taken off guard and couldn't even come up with the words, because that's such a huge honor in this motorsport. And, it's something that the fans truly decide on, and they got to vote from every single driver out there. So that they picked me, it really meant a lot. It meant that, I'm using my platform in a positive way.
So tell me, where at your house you keep that award? That's a decent sized one, but you've been racing other sports your whole life. So surely you have a room or a shelf or a wall.
Oh, for sure. I have a trophy room at my house. I have a trophy room at my parents' house, with all of my biggest accomplishments. Can't keep all the trophies from my motorsports along the way. It's a lot of years in there, but definitely all the Monster Jam ones are on the wall or on a shelf.
Now, I grew up with a younger sister, and so I had to go to a lot of different jazz, ballet, and tap performances and recitals and practices my entire life. Talk to me about some of your earliest memories in your history in the dance world.
Yeah, I was born into a motorsports family, but my parents really gave me every opportunity to try everything. I had zero coordination as a child, so they tried to put me in dance classes to try to fix that, on top of give me a little bit of structure. I was, a wild child, just like my daughter is. I really enjoyed dancing. I danced until I was probably about 10. I was a competitive swimmer. I tried basketball. I tried softball. Nothing really fit for me. Team sports weren't really, my niche. And so I started getting more involved in dirt bikes and motorsports when I was about 9, 10 years old. And that was where my passion lied. And that's where I took off from. And it was strictly motocross from then on out. I swam as a cross training. But other than that, it was dirt bikes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So tell me about being a mother now. How is that? The travel's it's gotta suck sometimes, right? Because I'm sure she can't be with you constantly.
So actually, thankfully, because of, the industry that I'm in, she has been alongside of me since she was born. She has been traveling with me at every single event, every single pit party. She's got her outfits that match mine. It's been a wild ride. It's chaotic at times. It's a little stressful, but travel days are a little longer. But she loves it, and it's such a cool experience to have her alongside of me now and just getting to experience everything and fall in love with the sport at such a young age.
You go to all these different arenas every weekend, and I know they're different sizes, so they change the layout a little bit, and you do some pretty impressive tricks. There's got to be a split second when you land that you don't exactly know where you are, right? Because it's got to be like, okay, did I flip once? I think so. Was it a quarter turn? Which way am I facing? This is a new arena. I would get a little confused. I mean, they're somewhat similar tracks, but different sizes, so the layout has to be different, right? And you're spinning around.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's always on knowing where you're at, and at times like you said, it can be a little disorientating. And, this arena is a very large floor, so we have a nice big what we call a double pod. So there's more jump opportunities, bigger opportunities for big air, backflip ramps. It's definitely just always paying attention to where you are within the boundaries and other trucks as well if they're pitted on the floor. But, I've been doing this a really long time, so it's just kind of second nature now.
Have you ever fly fished here in Idaho? Have you ever spent any time here?
No, this is my first time in all of my life of traveling that I've ever been to Idaho. And, it's beautiful. I'm so excited to be here. Did not bring my fly fishing rod with me this time, but normally I will.
Would you ever let your husband design a tattoo for you?
Yeah, I would. He actually did. Yeah, it's actually fly fishing related. It's a fly that he not only designed and tied, but also drew. He's quite the artist.
So how did that come up? Did you come up with the idea like, hey, I really think like a fly fishing tattoo would be good? And he has the art skill, or did it come from him first, or how does that come together?
Yeah, so he's also tattooed me prior, but no, we just went to get a couple of tattoos, and he had drawn up some stuff. He's always doodling and whatnot, and we were like, hey, why don't we, we'll get these matching tattoos. And we just took them in, and this is kind of it. It's kind of a spur of the moment thing.
So you said that he tattooed you. How did that come up, and what was that tattoo?
I think that was when we first met. I saw he had some tattoo guns, and I was like, hey, why don't you do something? So he wasn't too thrilled. He hadn't tattooed in a really long time, but he just doodled a little something on my arm. Nothing crazy, but I have a bunch of other tattoos, so I'm just kind of, not much scares me or worries me. The guy that tattooed my sleeve, he freehanded everything and came up with it on the whim. So, I just kind of give an idea and say go with it. I've always done that with my custom helmets as well that are painted. Just like I'm a hairdresser, I'm an artist, so I love when people give me free creative ability, and I love doing that with other artists because you usually end up with the best final product.
I know in Monster Jam, and you've driven some other trucks, and I know they have steering for the front and the back, but how do those controls work in the driver's seat for you? Do you have to switch something back and forth? Can you steer them both at the same time? Is it a steering wheel toggle?
Yeah, so the front wheels are controlled by a normal steering wheel, and then the rear wheels are controlled by a toggle switch that is to the right of the steering wheel. We operate both at the same time. You want to go right, you turn them both to the right. You want to go left, turn them both to the left. It's been so long since I learned, but I would say, especially coming from motorsports, it wasn't super weird. I think the weirdest thing is when you're trying to finagle into really tight areas possibly. But other than that, it comes more natural than you would think.
Now, for people coming to the Ford Idaho Center this weekend, I know a lot of times there's pit parties. Do you know what time those typically start? I know tonight the doors are at 6. The race starts at 7. So when are the trucks and the drivers down on the tracks this weekend?
So we do not have one tonight. We have one Saturday from 10:30 to noon and Sunday from 10:30 to noon. So definitely there's still tickets available. You want to get on and purchase those, and you get to come down to the track. You get to be in the dirt next to the trucks. You get to meet us one-on-one, ask us whatever questions you have, take pictures. it's a really good thing to experience before the event.
Is there a Scooby-Doo quad?
No, not anymore. There used to be back years ago. We had a triple threat series I was on, and we raced quads as well. But no, there's no more Scooby-Doo quad.
Thank you so much for the call today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Good talking to you.